Type stripping is enabled by default within Node.js version 22.18. This is an LTS. We see that they've described that they've enabled type stripping by default, which means that when you run Node.js, you no longer have to transpile your TypeScript code over to JavaScript. It'll do it for you automatically, which is fantastic. And I want to try it out when you give it a test here. I did get NVM up and running and got Node NVM to get 22.18 on my system, and we'll just give it a try out. So typically if you try to run this in a JavaScript environment that doesn't know what TypeScript is, then you'll get an error because this is invalid JavaScript syntax. This tells you that the foo variable is of type string. This is helpful because this prevents future errors if you're trying to, when also const, right? And const is probably a little bit more valuable in this case when defining variables and literals, because they help you prevent accidents in the future. It's good code hygiene. And so this is a simple application, 2 lines, just logs foo using a template literal and interpolates the foo variable. And then we set const to true. And the only thing that's TypeScript-like in this case is just the colon string. This is the only thing that is TypeScripty right here. Everything else is pretty vanilla JavaScript. So we could just copy and paste this. So let me see. I got my NVM. So it's NVM use. Let's do 22.18, and we'll get that going. And then jumping over here, we can just copy this, and I should see this output hello world if everything works correctly. Wait, what? Oh, okay, yeah. This has never been useful to me, is seeing these money signs in front. Although I know it does describe that you're supposed to run it in the shell. It always causes issues for me. All right, so we've got our TypeScript file. Let's see, cat file, TypeScript, looks good. And then we just run node file. All right, so it should just say hello world, and it worked. All right, success. Now, there are a couple other things to note with this TypeScript. It said here there are some limitations. The supported syntax documented here. This feature is experimental and subject to change. You could disable it if you want. I don't know why you would want to. Maybe it makes things faster. I'm not sure. But you could say no experimental stripped types. And so when I think of the term strip types, all I think of is it's not really doing a whole lot for you, because TypeScript, the pre-transpiler is the one that does all the type checking. But in this case, what I'm reading here is Node isn't actually using the value of TypeScript. It's not enforcing or checking any of the types that you've attached to your code base. So for example, just this, all it's doing is just ignoring the string. It's ignoring it. So it's not actually giving you any benefit. It's just helping, in this case, from my understanding, I think it's just simply helping. I don't know what, actually. I don't know what is it helping? Why is this better? Why is this a thing? I mean, maybe it makes it easier to just run TypeScript more natively, and it's an iterative step towards it allowing these types of annotations. That's my guess. So type stripping, all it does is just ignores the typing. So I guess maybe it's iteratively helpful. So they did say there are some limitations. Was reading, by default, Node.js will execute TypeScript files that contain only erasable TypeScript syntax. So that's anything that can be ignored. So if there's any like additional, more advanced TypeScript syntax that requires additional interpolation to be considered JavaScript at that point, it's not going to work. You're going to get an error. Node will replace TypeScript syntax with white space. See, it's just completely ignoring it. And no type checking is performed. No type checking is performed. That means that it doesn't actually help you to type TypeScript and then run it natively in Node yet. It's just allowing you to do it, right? So that's not super duper beneficial at this point. I wouldn't call it beneficial, but to enable the transform of non-erasable TypeScript syntax, which requires JavaScript code generation, such as an enum declaration, parameter properties, use the flag experimental transform types. Okay, so that will allow you to start dealing with non-erasable TypeScript syntax. Nice. To disable this feature, though, you could use the, which we saw in the other link, no experimental strip types, which just turns this off. So right now, it's not really helping us a whole lot, but this experimental transform types might be a little bit more beneficial. Node.js ignores tsconfig JSON files and therefore features that depend on settings within the tsconfig JSON, such as paths or converting newer JavaScript syntax to older standards, are intentionally unsupported. So they say they're not, it's just not going to happen. They're just not going to do it. At least for now. Maybe later. We don't know. To get a full TypeScript support, see full TypeScript support. Oh, wait. Hold on. Wait. There might be a thing here. To use TypeScript with full support for all TypeScript features, including tsconfig JSON, you can use a third-party package. Okay. So you still have to do non-native Node.js activities in order to fully leverage TypeScript. So maybe eventually they're working towards building this in by default, but for now they're not. And so that's the current catch. Is it's kind of neat. It's a little bit neat that you can do it and it works, but it's not all that useful because it's not helping a whole lot. I think it's just getting us a little step closer.